I want to talk with you today about happiness and about an interesting conversation I had with one of my children. So I was taking my kids to school this morning, and on the way there, my oldest daughter, she says, "Dad, can I ask you a question?" And I said, "Sure," because she asks questions all the time, so I didn't know why she was asking me if she could ask a question. I said, "Sure, what's your question?" And she said, "Dad, how are you happy all the time?" And for my first thought was, well, I'm not happy all the time. I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And she said, "You're pretty much always happy." She said, "Every time I see you, you're happy. You're laughing, you're joking." She said, "How does that work?" And honestly, I was surprised. I didn't know how to answer that question. I hadn't really thought about it. I wouldn't say that I thought of myself as someone who is happy all the time, but I do carry joy most of the time unless something crazy is happening. And I talked to her about it, and I told her, the best that I could. I said, well, it has to do with how you think, how you frame the things that happen in your life and the things that are going on. And I think that's the truth. I think a key to being happy is not that the right things happen to you or that you have certain things or that you've accomplished certain things. It's really how you think about life. So I think I walk in a certain amount of joy because I frame things in a way that brings joy. I try to thank God for the good things. I try to not dwell on the bad things. I try to focus on how things can be for good, because that's what the scripture says. It says that all things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Even the trials, the scripture says, count it all joy when you encounter trials of various kinds, because the testing of your faith produces patience. And I think there's something else in that too, about how to be happy, how to walk in happiness. I think one is knowing God. I don't know how anybody's really happy without knowing God. If you don't know God, if you don't have a relationship with God or cultivate that relationship, what do you have to be happy about? Maybe something good happens, but there's a lot of bad things that happen too. I think it starts with knowing God. I think it culminates then in that relationship where you walk with God, you talk to God, you experience him, you carry his presence with you, and you experience that. I think that brings happiness. And I think too, it's figuring out what your purpose is, why you're born. And I think it's living that purpose out, going out and making a difference in people's lives. I don't have it all together. I'm not perfect. I wouldn't say that I'm the best at anything. I wouldn't say that I'm overly interesting. I'm a little weird sometimes. But other than that, I think I'm happy because I'm able to walk with God. I know God, but I know what he created me for. And to the best of my ability, I live that out.